So guys, I'm just going to do this video together because they're kind of interlinked anyway. So I'm going to do Wilder and Parker fight and then the Joshua and Wallin fight. And I think rather than doing two separate videos, just do it in one because they're kind of interlinked. You know, and I'm going to interject. I'm not going to talk about one fight. I'm going to kind of mix and match them. So AJ put in a great performance against Wallin. He looked good. He looked very strong. And he looked probably the best I've seen him since he got beat by Andy Ruiz. He didn't look timid at all. A lot of people are saying he's back. And yeah, you could say he's back. The only thing that I'm concerned about Joshua is that if we think about it, he hasn't really been in there with a big puncher. And I think that's when his problem is gonna, because we need to see Joshua in a dark place. Excuse me. When I mean we need to see Joshua in a dark place, I mean we need to see him challenge. We need to see him, you know, get put on the back for someone where he's fearful of the other guy's power. I think someone like Zhilei Zhang, someone like that is a different fight. It's a different fight. You know, even Wilder, and we'll come on to Wilder, you know, even though he's lost and he looked horrific today. Even that is an interesting fight. And then you've got other guys out there. But I think when AJ fights somebody that has power, I think that's when there's going to be a concern. Because that's when I think he's probably going to be a bit more timid. Although he didn't look timid today. He looked very good, very good. But now, is that because it was Wallin in front of him? And Wallin was quite poor. He didn't really have anything to really trouble AJ. So I think AJ was comfortable, beat the crap out of him, and he looked very fantastic. He looked very good, and I think it's the best he's looked in a very, very long time. A very, very long time, and he looked comfortable. It was easy for him. He didn't look like Lennox said, he didn't even look like he had been in a fight. It was so comfortable for him. On the other hand, we had Deontay Wilder, who looked horrific, who looked so poor. And a lot of people, look, and here's the thing with Deontay Wilder, and I'm going to, look, I like Deontay Wilder, so I'm a bit biased. I've always been a fan of Deontay Wilder. And people say, you know, Deontay Wilder's overrated. He's rubbish. He's poor. He's this. What's there to be overrated about? Please explain, right? Deontay Wilder's always been what he is. He's a guy with a big right hand that can really punch. And his boxing skills are limited. Everybody knows that about Wilder. There's nothing overrated about Deontay Wilder. I don't know why people keep saying, oh, he's overrated. Everybody knows what Wilder's going to do when he comes inside a boxing ring. But yet, we all watch the fight. And yeah, his fights are shit a lot of the time. But we all watch the fight because we're waiting. When's that right hand going to land? When's that right hand? And that's been Deontay Wilder's fights. That's why Deontay Wilder's been so exciting. Because, you know, as he says, bam, baby, good night. Because you're waiting for that moment where he lands and destroys his opponent. But against Parker tonight, it didn't come. It didn't happen. Why didn't it happen? Because for me, firstly, whoever was his matchmaker, this was a terrible fight to make, right? Because Parker's a lot smaller, right? He moves around a lot. Wilder's been inactive, right? It had the writings on the wall, although no one was giving Parker a chance. Even me, I thought Wilder's going to sleep him. But when you think about it, and you think about how inactive Wilder's been, you think about what could give Wilder trouble. Parker's probably a difficult fight for especially with what Wilder's been through. He's not been on a run. He's not fought in 2 years effectively. He's had one fight against Helenius that lasted, what, 50 seconds? So he's effectively not fought in 2 years. And then he's fighting a guy that's smaller, that moves around a lot. It's going to be tough for him. So you don't match him against someone like that. And people may say, well, he's at the end, he should be matched against anyone. No, no, no. You can still match him against someone credible. You can match. I honestly think, and by the way, I think Zhang would beat Wilder, especially at this point. But I think he has more chance to beat Zhilei Zhang because Zhang's taller, right? There's more chance he land. And I still wholeheartedly believe that he has a very good chance of beating Joshua. Because I see him landing against Joshua. But I do also say this, that for me, Wilder looks off. And what I mean he looks off, he looked mentally off with the way he was talking. in fight week and then after fight week. And not just that, he looks slower. He doesn't look as fast as he used to be. His right hand was razor sharp. Razor sharp. We saw that against Fury. We saw that against many other fighters. And people will say, well, Parker's better. You know, but it's not about what Parker is. It's about what Wilder was. Wilder was so poor. So poor. There wasn't even any urgency from him. That's the thing. A lot of you can say, well, he's got no boxing ability. He can't box. Okay, but why was there no urgency? Why was there, like, there was no urgency. The only urgency I saw in round 12 when he actually landed a few more shots. But why wasn't there urgency from round 7, from round 6? Why did he have to take him to the last round to show some urgency? You know, you don't have to have skill to show urgency, do you? Even if he's throwing punches and they're not landing and they're missing because he hasn't got the skill to deliver those shots, okay, but at least show me some urgency. There was no urgency from Wilder. And that was the problem that I had. And I just think Wilder, something's not right. There's the old venomous Wilder's not there anymore. And with today, and the crazy thing is, a lot of people were picking Wilder to beat Joshua and saying Wilder would destroy Joshua. There was something I saw on TalkSport, actually, not TalkSport, I can't remember what it was, Betfred, or they said, who would Wilder knock out Anthony Joshua? Literally 95% of the people said Wilder would knock Joshua out. And that's how much of a heavy favourite Wilder would have been against Joshua. Funny enough now, that Joshua might, like, he's already been beat by Usyk twice, but Joshua might actually think he's the second best heavyweight. Or he potentially could think, I could beat Wilder and I could beat what's his name? Fury. Because Fury looked terrible against Ngannou. Wilder's just lost. So maybe Joshua might be fancying himself. You know, I don't think Joshua can beat Usyk. I don't think he can beat Usyk. I think that's already been proven now. But I think Joshua, you'd have to say that he has a chance against Deontay Wilder. You know, even though people were giving Wilder, even though I think Joshua always had a good chance against Wilder, but I just think people thought that Wilder would land. But after that performance, I would say, and by the way, I still think that is a fight that they should make. The only problem is now, because Wilder's lost to Parker, AJ hasn't got anything to benefit because AJ can only lose in that fight now. Because if he goes in and Wilder chins him, people will say, this guy lost to Joseph Parker. You know, you've just gone in and chinned. So Wilder, I mean, Joshua's got nothing to gain in that fight. Yes, he'll still gain a lot of money because I still think the fight sells and I still think it'll be a big fight. And what we've got to understand in boxing in general, styles make fights. Just because Parker's beaten Wilder, that doesn't mean that Wilder can't beat Joshua. Because stylistically, it's a different fight. AJ's a bigger target. He's a taller man. Right? And AJ's quite static as well. So he's there. But the way Wilder performed today, AJ's a better boxer. AJ's going to land a lot faster. He has a better delivery system. And he's got power as well. So the shots that Wilder was getting hit by Joseph Parker, if AJ lands those shots, it might be a different story. AJ's probably going to be the biggest puncher that Wilder's been in with. So how's that going to end for him? So this is why it's very interesting. And this is why I think that fight is still a fight that I would like to see. And I think that's still a great fight. People, I think Joshua and his team might not be that interested now because they may think, what have we got to gain? We've only got everything to lose now. Because if Wilder goes in there and chins Joshua, then Joshua's just, I mean, the momentum that he's gained, even though he's not fighting, you wouldn't say he's fighting top level guys in Wallin and whatever, but the couple of wins that he's had and the good performance that he had against Wallin, he could lose that. But again, at this point, is Zhilei Zhang, who they're talking about, is that a bigger fight than Deontay Wilder? Financially? If it is, then maybe go down that route. But I don't think it is. I don't think it is. I think what Joshua should do, if it's not going to be a Wilder fight, because I think Zhang's too dangerous. I would favour Zhang against Wilder, and I would favour Zhang against Joshua. I think Zhang's too dangerous. He hits too hard, and just because, look, Joshua lost to Usyk, who was a southpaw. He beat a southpaw in Wallin. But it's a different level of fight. Same way Zhang will be different to Wallin because Zhang has power. Serious power. So that the complex of the fight changes. And this is why I would stay away from Zhang. If you're going to take a tough fight, I would say Wilder, because Wilder's still a big fight. So what if he's lost? Still, like, just because he lost, he can still fight Deontay Wilder. He can still fight him. Who cares? Like, I'll still watch it. Everyone will still watch it. But I don't think we should let that. I don't think that fight should be just thrown under the carpet, which I think it will now, unfortunately. And maybe Wilder just retires. Because the way Wilder was talking at the end there, Wilder didn't look like a fighter that has anything left anymore. So he may even retire from the sport of boxing, which would be sad. Because I don't think I think Wilder would leave the sport, people saying he's a bum, he's overhyped. And I think Wilder gave us a lot of entertainment. Even though his fights weren't that good, but we were entertained watching Wilder, because we knew at any given moment he could switch anyone's lights off. And even today, against Jose Parker, we were waiting for that moment, that when he switches Jose Parker's lights off. But unfortunately, it didn't happen. But unfortunately, when it doesn't happen, people love to criticize Deontay Wilder. And it's sad because Wilder... And I actually hope that Wilder does come back. You know why? Because otherwise Wilder's legacy is going to be... He's not going to have a legacy, because people are going to say he was a bum. He never fought anybody. And I think Wilder was a lot better than that. I do think Wilder... And people may say, no, I'm biased or whatever. I do think Wilder was a lot better than that. I think there was a lot to Deontay Wilder. And it's sad because Deontay Wilder is one of my favorite fighters. And people may say, why is he one of your favorite fighters? He's rubbish. He can't box. He's terrible to watch. His fights aren't exciting, apart from the moment where he may knock somebody out. But that's what boxing's about. That's what we live for. And Wilder delivered them. Yes, okay, you could say his opponents were poor. Fair enough. But he still delivered that excitement. That 1 second rush that I used to get watching Deontay Wilder. I used to enjoy watching him. And Wilder there looked horrible. So I really hope he does come back. But I don't think he's got it in him anymore. I think he's finished from what I saw there. So yeah, just disappointed because I think Wilder's had his best days. I think he's finished. And I think AJ looked good. But again, I think I need to see AJ against a more threatening, more dangerous opponent, against like Zhilei Zhang. But, you know, I think it's just kind of killed me a little bit, because I was waiting for the Wilder-Joshua fight. And now, yeah, it's just, yeah, I feel like Wilder's a spent force and AJ might be a spent force. You know, Wallin's not a top opponent, but AJ at least looked good. He did what he had to do. Wilder didn't fulfill his, you know, side of the bargain, so we don't get that fight. I think Wilder will retire. From hearing him at the end there, I think Wilder will retire. I think he knows that he's got nothing to offer. I think he's fulfilled, and I don't think he feels that I don't think he loves boxing anymore. I think he just feels that he was talking about, I've got a statue in my home city and this, that, the other. I don't think he cares. I don't think he cares anymore. I think he's lost that hunger. So yeah, that's my take. Leave your thoughts, guys. Let me know what you think. AJ looked impressive. Wilder looked poor. Is that Wilder done? Is AJ back at the top? Let me know what you think, guys, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.